Welcome. It's what's today? Day 27. Today's Saturday for me, and I'm really feeling like decompressing for the week. So it has been a very busy week, but actually it's been a very busy month. Um yeah. So I was I've been working a lot on studying, and I've been working a lot on getting this app ready for beta testing. And realistically, I'm just kind of at a point right now where I'm like, I just want to work on something. Like, I just want to work on something fun. I just want to like stretch stretch myself a little bit, and get out of the same cycles I've been in, basically. So, what I was thinking about is, I've been wanting to do this for a minute anyway. So that's probably really where this is coming from. I recently was trying to get some ideas from ChatGPT around like Valentine themed coding stuff. But the funny thing is, when I was asking this stuff to ChatGPT, I wasn't really looking for like an app idea. I was more so looking for like t-shirt designs and stuff like that. Now, ChatGPT decided to voluntarily like give me a whole like a actual app idea as a part of that list, and I was like, "Oh, this looks really interesting." So, I think I need to try this out. So, basically, hold on, let me see. Where's my monitor going to be today? Okay. So, basically, what I want to do today is I'm going to go back to the thread that I started with ChatGPT, because there's some context already in there. And I'm just going to see how far I can get in getting like the basic structure of the app built out. So that's basically what I'm planning on doing today. Now, this like I said, this is like a pet project, so it is something I want to try out. I really wanted to see. I haven't really deployed an app to the App Store before, and I kind of want to do that now. I have some different ideas about what I might do with the front end of the app, whether I would actually integrate the back end directly into um, like a mobile, some type of mobile platform, or if I'm just gonna use Adalo, because I've been using Adalo like no code platform a lot recently. I really like how Adalo works, and I'm thinking that the low barrier to entry would basically be to use Adalo as the front end. Um, Adalo has a web app feature that is a PWA. So with Adalo, if I do use the web app, then users can actually still go to the app on their phone in the browser, and then they can just save it to home screen. That's basically how a PWA works, or a progressive web app. So that's one way. The trade-off is that in order to use that feature in Adalo, I would have to have my do I have to do that? Okay. So I'm thinking in Adalo, if I want to use my API as the backend to my app, then I do need to have a paid account for that. But as I was thinking about it, if I think in my MVP brain, I technically could try to build the MVP out in Adalo, which means all the databases and stuff would be built in Adalo as well. Realistically, even though I probably should do that and could do that, I don't want to, because I want to write some code. So since I want to write some code, I'm not even going to entertain that idea for the moment. But I might decide to go ahead and build that MVP out. It would be better if I did it that way. But the whole point is today, I just want to write some real code. And I love Adalo. Like, it's really good for prototyping and MVPs, and the type of work I do with clients, trying to vet their business ideas. But realistically, like, I want to see some I want to see some bars and some consts and some let's be honest. So I'm going to stick with my plan of using some JavaScript on the back end. I was going back and forth if I should do JavaScript or Python. I said JavaScript, so I'm gonna stick with JavaScript. But I might go back and see, because I need to get more just I need to be spending as much time as I can in JavaScript and also in Python. And what I'm thinking about for this project is if I build the API out and I get that functioning, then I can choose a front end. I can either go ahead and pay for a dollar to use a dollar as a front end, and then I will have the PWA feature, or I've really been wanting to try React Native and kind of want to see the differences between React and React Native. So that's a possibility for the front end. And then my other thing is, even if I don't use a dollar, I might look into the PWA, because I've never actually implemented whatever features you need to make your app a PWA. So I think that might be something that I pursue instead. So what else? We got the back end. My deployment is probably just going to be through Render, because Render is really, really user friendly. I like it, and it's really good for hobby like projects. So I'm probably just going to deploy to Render. That will be straightforward. And then just trying to think if there's anything else major that I would have to consider right now. I don't think so though. So that's what I'm planning on doing today. So I'm excited because like I said, I just want to write some code. Like, I'm a nerd, bro, so I just want to write some code, and I haven't written code in a minute. And my GitHub calendar contribution graph is looking a little bare. So, you know, some of the commits that I made to my chatbot, why can't I make this lower? Some of my commits I made to my chatbot will actually end up showing up in the contribution graph, because they're on a branch right now. So I think they won't show up until, is that true? I think I won't have credit for those until they get merged into main. I think that's the case. I could be making that up. Anyways, so let's jump in. I'm gonna keep this like a little bit lower. Okay, I think just having the AI music in the background is not bad, as long as it's like background. Okay, so let's go to here. Okay, can I make this bigger? Because it's like cutting off. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen today as well. I still have another stream up over here, because I've been hanging in Frozer's stream this morning, so I still have his stream open. Okay. Right, so let's go. I need to update my screens, because I don't have a 365 days of code screen right now. Okay, so I am so hungry too. So I made myself some noodles. All right. So this is what I'm working with. This is what I've chatted with ChatGPT so far. Can I close this? Yeah. Okay. This is what I chatted with ChatGPT so far. Let's go back to the top. I'm gonna read through this whole thing so you can see. Look, I said, what's some ideas for Valentine's Day themed products based on engineering, and it gave me like traditional products, but then it was like API for love app. Develop a mobile app that allows couples to create and share their own API endpoints for expressing love, with features like sending virtual hugs, kisses, or romantic messages. So I was like, that's really interesting. I asked ChatGPT to break that project idea down. So let's see, because I'm refreshing myself on what this conversation was like too. So it says, certainly the API for Love project is a playful and creative concept that involves developing a mobile app centered around expressing love through programming inspired features. Here's a breakdown of the key components and features. The core idea is to provide couples with a digital platform where they can use programming concepts to express their love. The app serves as a fun and unique way for tech-savvy individuals to connect on a romantic level. Okay, because I think y'all can only hear the music. I can hear the stream, but I don't think y'all can hear it. Okay. Okay, so here's the features. The concept overview: provide couples with a digital platform where they can use programming concepts to express their love. Okay. Features: virtual hugs and kisses. Users can send virtual hugs, kisses, or other affectionate gestures to their partner within the app. These actions could be represented with animated emojis or cute graphics. Code messages. Couples can exchange romantic messages written in code. For example, they might use simple programming languages or syntax to convey sweet messages that only they can understand. Commitment statements. Similar to a version control system like Git, couples can make commitments to each other, recording significant milestones or promises in their relationship. I love that. That's so fun. Then you have the endpoints. So users can create custom API endpoints for specific expressions of love. For instance, they might define an endpoint for sending surprise virtual gifts, planning date nights, or sharing memories. So these endpoints would be something that they can configure themselves. So that'll be interesting to see how I might do that. Timeline of love. The app could include a timeline feature that visualizes the history of the relationship, showcasing major events, shared moments, and milestones. So this timeline, this is a lot, but this is just, this is a general idea. So if I did do the timeline thing, oh my God. Frozer got this freaking oh my God, he got a freaking jump scare when people follow. Okay. Okay. Oh my God. The app could include a timeline feature that visualizes the history of the relationship. Wait, I need to preach it. How is it going? I'm about to I need to clip myself right now because I need him to understand what I'm going through. Hold on. I'm about to clip this from me getting a freaking jump scare from somebody else stream. But I'm doing good. How's it going? Happy Saturday, man. I know you can't hear the stream. But it's on over here. Let's go back. Doing all right, only all right. It's okay to be only doing all right. Make me dab. What the heck? All right. Y'all got y'all dab in. Do people dab anymore? Welcome in, hon. How's it going? Happy Saturday. Hold on, oh dang. I'm gonna have to go back and do it. Channel. Because clip. I don't know if dang. I was too slow. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back and clip it later. But today, I got an unprompted, kind of prompted, but ChatGPT voluntarily gave me an app idea, like a Valentine's Day themed app. So that's what I'm gonna work on today. JavaScript on the back end, and we shall see what I do with the front end. I haven't decided yet. Right now, I'm just focused on setting up the back end, getting the API working, and trying to see how this should be structured. So yeah, let me know what y'all working on too. I need to eat too, so I'm gonna be eating as well. So this is so basic, but I swear it's so good that I'm obsessed with it. I be making ramen. I be making ramen with like lemon pepper seasoning, and it's the best thing ever. So this is I'm going through the description of the app right now. So it's called API for Love. That's basically the general idea of it. So the way that they describe it, or the way ChatGPT describes it, is the API for Love project is a playful and creative concept that involves developing a mobile app centered around expressing love through programming inspired features. And I'm going through and looking at the features now. So you would be able to send virtual hugs and kisses. Users can send virtual hugs, kisses, or other affectionate gestures to their partner. That could be represented by animated emojis or cute graphics. I could do like a Jiffy integration, maybe. That would be cool. Code messages. Couples can exchange romantic messages written in code. For example, they might use simple programming languages or syntax to convey sweet messages that only they can understand. Similar to version control systems like Git, couples can make commitments to each other, recording significant milestones or promises. And then Love API endpoints. So users can create their own custom API endpoints for specific expressions of love. For instance, they might have an endpoint where they can send virtual gifts, plan date nights, etc. Then Timeline of Love would be showcasing different milestones in their relationship. So I think this will be cool if you have the commitment idea, right? Like get commit first date or something like that, right? So then any commits in their relationship would be on the timeline. And then also probably anytime they send a message or send a hug and kiss, that would be on the timeline too. And then collaborative coding challenges is another thing it says. So couples can engage in collaborative coding challenges or puzzles within the app. Successfully completing challenges could unlock new features or rewards. Love the instant ramen. Heck yeah. So with the ramen, I'm like, normally I'll do like some other standard stuff just to like kind of dress it up and make it a little bit fancier. But I promise you, I'm like right now when it's just like a quick thing, all I do is put lemon pepper. I have a lemon pepper seasoning that I do like, or I just literally use lemon juice and ground pepper, and it's just, I don't know, it's something special, I promise you. Okay, so these are the features. I think this is a lot of features, but I'm like, this is fun to me. I promise. Like, I wasn't really thinking about doing this, but I was like, that's a good idea, actually. ChatGPT, okay. Preacher says, I'm just posting a blog post of some remix of animation from 1928. And the other thing I'm working on is a paper on care and effective computing. Sounds Valentine's themed. Not really, but it has care and affection in it. So I'm gonna take that. Valentine's app for coders. Basically, I like a gift feature, please. Okay. And then adding hot dogs and eggs. Oh, yeah. So yeah, normally I would be like, oh, let me I'll add some. I add tuna a lot. Tuna, maybe eggs or something like that, but this is really good with just some seasoning. Okay, so then user interface. The app's user interface should be intuitive, playful, and visually appealing. Use coding themed graphics, icons, and other color schemes to create a tech-inspired atmosphere. Given the personal nature of the content shared, the app must prioritize user privacy and data security. Implement robust encryption and authentication mechanisms to protect users' information. Then we want to incorporate gamification elements to make the app more engaging. This could include earning badges for challenges, reaching relationship milestones, or using the app consistently. And for the record, even though I think this is more kind of gearing it towards like a couple relationship, I think that this could be good for friendships as well. Friendships like siblings, and then develop the app for both iOS and Android to ensure accessibility. Consider various monetization strategies, such as offering a free version with in-app purchases, premium features, or even subscription plans for enhanced functionalities. Then here's a little advice from ChatGPT. Remember, the key to the success of this project is to balance the technical aspects with a sense of fun, creativity, and romance. The goal is to provide couples with a unique and enjoyable way to express their love using programming concepts. So I leaned on ChatGPT a little bit more. So I was like, how can I implement the MVP of this using a JavaScript stack? I got pretty deep into this. Yeah, I'm still pretty early on. So I'm going to read this entire thing back so I can even know. Because I did this back. This was at least a month ago, probably. Maybe a couple weeks. All right, so building an MVP involves choosing the right tech and focusing on essential features to quickly validate the concept. Below is a simplified guide using a common JavaScript stack, Node for the backend, and React for the front end, along with other tools and libraries. So first we want to initialize the project, and it looks like they're also using Mongoose, which I'm familiar with. Mongoose is like going to be do they call theirs ORM or ODM? But Mongoose is basically a way that we can interact with a MongoDB database. So it has like APIs and stuff for us, so we don't have to use the native technologies. Is really good, and that's something I would definitely want to use. So this is like my basic requirements: Express and Mongoose, and then creating my server right here. So this is just the basic. This is like MVP to get the app running, and then the routes would be here where the comments are. I would probably just refactor these routes into their own controllers, but this is like a basic boilerplate to start the server. Then install Mongoose. So we're going to use MongoDB for storing user data, messages, and relationship milestones. User authentication, implement user authentication for privacy and security. You can use Passport.js. I haven't really gotten a chance to really use Passport, and I would love to use Passport. I would love to use Passport, actually. That was the first thing that came to my mind. So I think that that's going to be a good option without having to get too deep into the authentication implementation. Working on a digital drawing. Yeah, I'm going to use Mongo. I do use Postgres as well, but when I do my JavaScript stuff, I really prefer to use Mongo, because like my thought process with working with JavaScript objects and working with MongoDB documents is very similar. So I really like taking advantage of that. But my SQL needs, where's my foot? Oh, my bad. I need my foot rest. I'm short, y'all, so I need my foot rest all the time. But yeah, my SQL definitely needs some work. But for the sake of this project, I would rather just focus on Mongoose and getting better with my Mongo knowledge. And then a lot of times when I work with the bootcamp that I work with right now, the students can have SQL or Mongo on the back end. They can have JavaScript or Python on the back end, but typically they go for a MERN stack. So they usually have MongoDB on the back end, and they usually have like JavaScript on the back end. So this will be good for me, because sometimes, I don't know, when you're not in the weeds with a certain tech stack all the time, your debugging can get a little rusty. Put it like that. And then user auth. Implement user auth for privacy. So it literally just points to passport. And then on the front end, we're looking at React. So use npx to create our React app, and then create components. So build components for hooks, kisses, code, messages, and other features. Use state and props to manage the data. Then for our API integration, we would use Axios. So the front end needs to query the back end, basically. So we will have Axios installed. I'm debating on if this is a mono repo. I have to debate on if this is a mono repo, but I don't want to do a mono repo. Actually, I changed my mind. I already figured that out, because even if I do a web app front end, eventually I would want to have the back end be able to just integrate with any other type of quote unquote front end, like a mobile platform or something like that. So I don't think it makes sense to store my front end with my back end. And they have to run separately anyways. All right, so I'm going to install Axios, and then these are showing, here's a love message component example, and it has to post to this endpoint, assuming I have this endpoint set up on the back end. Design a simple, user-friendly interface using a UI library or a framework like Bootstrap, Material UI, or Tailwind. Now, I might be late because, you know, the JavaScript world be moving so fast and the front-end world be moving so fast, but people always talking about Tailwind, and I haven't spent any time with it. So that's worth exploring. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go with that. I haven't done Bootstrap in a while, but I'm pretty familiar with Bootstrap. Back in my day, we only had Bootstrap. So, I mean, realistically, like, I'm very comfortable with Bootstrap. I would rather work with Tailwind because I know Tailwind is really popular now. And I haven't had a chance to explore it at all. And then testing. Now that's the real key. The real key is I need to be doing some TDD, but I might be asking for too much. Backend deployment, deploy to a cloud platform like Heroku or AWS. And then on the front end, I could deploy to Netlify or Vercel. I think I'm going to deploy the front end on Vercel, but I am going to deploy the back end on Render. Now, the reason why I want to deploy the front end on Vercel is because I get a lot of questions about deploying to Vercel. Most of the time, people are trying to deploy like full stack apps to Vercel. I don't think that's what it's made for. But for the front end, I think it makes sense for me to get some experience there. So I'm definitely going to actually try that. Netlify I've used a little bit in the past, but it was more a plug and play type of thing. So Netlify is also would be good. It would be a good option as well. But like I said, because a lot of my students, I get questions about Vercel all the time. I want to spend some time with Vercel. And then monitoring and analytics would be another component. User feedback. Add mechanisms for users to provide feedback within the app. Iterate and improve. So collect user feedback, analyze patterns, and iterate on the MVP to add more features and refine existing ones. Remember, this is a simplified guide and you may need to adapt based on your specific requirements and preferences. Additionally, ensure that you follow best practices for security, scalability, and maintainability of your code. I would definitely want to do something for logging. So I have less experience with logging, in the sense that a lot of my experience with logging and monitoring tools was supported by a SRE team or an infrastructure team. So a lot of the stuff that we were able to use, like Datadog. I used Datadog before. I used LogDNA. Log DNA is now Mesmo. Huh. Wait, let me see. What is the original log DNA? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so we used the log DNA. We used Grafana for like graphs and stuff. Grafana. So you have your logging, and then you have your dashboards and charts and stuff like that, and usually they're integrated together. Okay, so let me see. Docs. Okay, so yeah, with Grafana, I have experience with Grafana. But like I said, it's more so using the tools and integrating our services with the tools. But it was really infrastructure team's responsibility to set all that up, and kind of give us the guidance on how these things needed to be configured so that it would work with our system. So I think those would be history, documentation. I think those would be some tools I want to kind of look into. But I do think it would be great to play around with some getting monitoring and stuff like that up and running. And then, hi Miss Signer, welcome in. Thank you for the lurk. I know it's Saturday. I was all right, let me see. Okay. I was while we were watching Frozen, I was actually like working on cleaning up my office and everything. So I totally get it. Okay, so those are good. So I don't know. I think I picked most of my stack, at least where I need to start. Then I said, is it possible for me to build this app in Adalo using my own backend API as the external database and Adalo as the app UI? So of course I know that's possible, but I really was trying to lean into ChatGPT to see what it will recommend. So what we'll see. Let's vet what this let's vet this part, because I remember it was going a little bit off the rails with some of these responses down here. So it says it's possible to build the app using Adalo, leveraging your own backend as the external database. Adalo, I know what Adalo is. Adalo is a no-code, low-code platform that allows you to create web and mobile apps without extensive coding. Here's a general guide. Sign up for Adalo, create a new app, define database collections. Yeah, see, it's already, you can define collections to store your data, and it says to define collections, and then it also says to set up external collections, and those are two conflicting. It would be more so an either or type of thing. Set up connections to your own backend API to retrieve and update data. You may need to define API endpoints in your backend to support Adalo's data requirements. Yes, that is all absolutely true. And then use Adalo's visual builder to design UI components for sending hugs, kisses, code messages, and other features. Drag and drop components and customize their appearance and behavior. Connect the UI to the database. And then user authentication. If your backend handles user authentication, you can integrate it with Adalo. Configure Adalo's user management features or use external authentication providers. Test the app. Use Adalo's preview feature to test the app functionality. Make sure the data is being retrieved and updated correctly. Iterate on your design and functionality based on testing results. Adalo allows you to make changes quickly without extensive coding. And then once you're satisfied, you could publish it, either web app, or Adalo actually has the option to publish directly to iOS. published directly to the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. All right, so that's the big overview. Hold on, I need my blanket. I'm cold. My shins are cold. I think I mentioned this, but one of the best things I got recently was I got like a heated throw blanket. So it's not like a huge blanket, but it's a good size for me working in the office. And it helps me keep my heat helps me keep my heat bill down, because paying $400, $500, $600 a month for electricity is like cray cray. Let's see. Okay. So there was considerations, which I agree with pretty much what they said here. Ensure that your backend API meets the requirements of the Adalo data structure and supports the necessary endpoint for CRUD operations. We did some of that way back in the fall, but Adalo, when you use Adalo and you want to do external collection, which is basically connecting it to an API, the API really needs to be following RESTful practices. So some of the things I ran into was less of how my endpoints were structured, because a lot of my endpoints were already RESTful. I was using a service that I literally was teaching how to make a RESTful service. So a lot of my endpoints were RESTful, but some of the things I didn't have implemented was like query filtering on different endpoints. And depending on the type of data that I wanted to get, or the type of ways I wanted my data to flow in Adalo, I realized that the queries were going to be necessary. So that's like in the browser, if you say you have an endpoint, but then you can do like question mark, my val equals Valentine or something like that. Both of these got val in it, but my var equals val or something like that. So this is one way, one aspect of the endpoints that I had implemented that I wasn't really teaching that, so we weren't really using it. And so I did learn a lot about that with Adalo, like just how I needed to have those different filter options on my endpoints as well, just to further what I could do with the data in Adalo. So I have a lot of good learnings from there. I think, speaking of Notion, because that's where I'm going next, I think I meet Notion calendar. Beautifully designed calendar for your life and work. Oh my gosh. Notion is trying to compete. I love it. Actually, download this ASAP. Yes, I need it right now. It looks exactly like the iOS app, but it probably is nicer because, yeah, okay, I'm going on a tangent. But Apple really don't be caring about this, they'll be caring about our app. I mean, like our calendar app, and I have to use everything through Apple Calendar. I integrate all my Google calendars in the Apple Calendar. Okay, we go into this hub because this is where all the techie stuff is. Wait. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, is it having like a setting, dark mode setting for all the different spots? But no. Okay. Um, let me see. I don't remember where I put my notes when I was experimenting with a Dalo. Maybe. What's in here? No. It's probably in a project planner. There's so much stuff in here. Here, let's go to this project because my POC was related to this MVP and test API integration with a Dalo. Yeah. Okay, here we go. This is where my notes landed. Okay. I'm gonna favorite this just because, okay, perfect. Because I need to be able to get back to that easily. Now, this is my project planner. Courtesy of, who did I get this from? Cajun Koi Academy. And it works really well. So I think I'm just going to keep working with this as far as setting myself up a new project and managing my project. That's personal stuff. I need to clean this up. We're gonna make a new project called, what's it called? The API API for love. Enter. And then this one, let's full screen this. So that way I'll have a board that I can manage all my stuff on. Okay. So let's put that back over there. Now, the reason why I said speaking of Notion is because if I come back, the next thing I had asked was for ChatGPT to give like a breakdown that I could put that I could put into Notion. This is assuming that I have a Dalo on the front end, but it doesn't matter. Here's a list of tasks you can add to your Notion project management board to implement the MVP based on the Node.js backend and the Dalo front end. It's funny because it's like it doesn't, when I bring up Notion, it didn't ask me. It didn't explain to me what Notion was, but when I brought up a Dalo, it explained to me what a Dalo was. So, okay. So for backend development tasks, set up Node, create a project, initialize it, install the necessary dependencies, define a database schema. So define a MongoDB schema for user data, love messages, milestones, etc. Set up express routes for sending hugs, kisses, code messages, milestones, etc. Implement the route handlers for the CRUD operations. Connect your Node.js backend to MongoDB. Implement functions to interact with the database. Implement user auth with Passport. Add authentication middleware to secure the routes. Use tools like Postman to test your backend endpoints. That was the other thing I was going to say. I don't think I have Postman set up yet on this computer, and I definitely want to have Postman for testing the endpoints right now because I'm not going to do the front end yet. And then deploy your backend to a cloud platform and set up environment variables. All right, so for the front end, if it is in the Dalo, create a new app in the Dalo. See, this is where this is one issue. This is one flaw in the directions or the guidance. I wouldn't have both of these. I would only have one. So it's one or the other. It's not both. Either I would have a Dalo and set all the collections up in a Dalo, or I'll just have the user collection because that's set up by default in the Dalo, and then everything else will be coming from the external collection, which is the API. Design UI components, link the UI to the database. Integrate the user auth, test app functionality, refine UI, and then publish. All right, so general project management tasks: documentation, document APIs, data structures, and any important information. Testing, perform thorough testing of both the backend and front end components. Create test cases for different scenarios. User feedback loop. Set a mechanism for collecting feedback within the app. Plan for future iterations based on user input. Review, security review. Review and enhance security measures. I'm being nosy. It's a lot going on. They cleaned out the basement downstairs so we can get laundry and stuff in the building, but it's a lot going on. Okay. Review and enhance security measures in both the backend and front end. Address any of the vulnerabilities or risks. Then scaling considerations. Evaluate the scalability. Analytics. Integrate analytics tools. I think because I'm thinking about this being like a mobile app type of situation too, I need to understand a little bit more about how the analytics work. Backup and recovery plan. Implement a backup and recovery plan for data stored in the back end. Okay, that's a good idea. Deployment checklist. Create a deployment checklist to ensure a smooth deployment process. And then document the project setup, config, and deployment steps for future reference. And then post-launch support. Plan for post-launch support to address any issues that may arise. Then, okay, so it got a little wonky here. I said, here's the documentation for external collections. And then it says, can you outline the API as RESTful routes in a chart, including the name, which would be an index, new, create, show, edit, update, destroy, the path, the HTTP verb, and the purpose or description. Please include options to provide query param filtering as needed. So I think I was expecting it to set up the endpoints based on what was already covered in the features. But here's the first thing that it gave me. So it literally gave me routes that are called external collection, which is not what I was talking about. Like in the documentation for external collections, it's literally, that's just the name of the feature. But what I was expecting is for ChatGPT to map the endpoints that we needed into the chart, just taking into consideration this documentation. But it got a little confused and was just like giving me all these generics. So I said the routes should be based on the API that will be implemented in JavaScript as you described before, and it was able to clean that up. Dookie, welcome in. Happy Saturday. How's it going? So we have, this is only one though. Oh, here we go. Okay. So first it just gave me love messages, and this is basically only one set of endpoints essentially. This is only one feature. So get all messages, create a message, well, this is the form for the message, and then this is to create the message. Then to get a specific message, to edit the message, that's the form to edit it, and then this will be the actual action of saving the data, and then this will be deleting. So that was cool, but that's only that's only one of the features. So I did say, can you expand the endpoints to include all of the app features? And then I copied the features from above just to make sure that like there was no confusion. So now there is a hugs endpoint, there's a kisses endpoint, there is code messages, there is commitments. Then these love endpoints, those would be configurable for them. So I'm not really sure how it's going to work yet, but that's what that would be. Timeline. Coding challenges. So it's interesting because the timeline is like the only one that only has an index. So I guess it would be expecting the timeline to be compiled from other places, other parts of the app. And then optional filter by user. Love endpoints will also want to be filtered by user. The timeline, the coding challenges. Basically all of the index routes would have some filtering on them, which I think is right. I think that's consistent with what I've seen as well if I did want to use a download for the front end. Okay, so for routes with the index, consider optional query parameters for filtering by user to retrieve personalized data. The new routes are for creating forms. The create routes handle the actual creation. The update route is for updating details. Adjust the paths and query parameters based on specifics of your application and backend. Okay, so that was like a whole hour of preparation or kind of going through that. But I think this is in a good state as far as like kind of getting started. So let's see. I think I can share this, right? More info, copy this link. Because what I want to do is here. What does it look like when I share this link? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go here. Let me open my dashboard. And just to make it simple, log in with Streamlabs, yeah. Just to make it simple, because people are gonna ask, like, wait, what are you doing? I'm gonna make a command that will show this, the link to this chat for context. So this will be ! API for love. Let's see. Okay, so confirm. Oh, Ben Corno, welcome in. Yeah, I remember you from seeing the stream earlier. Yes, today I'm just doing I'm doing something fun. But normally, if you're new to the stream, I'm streaming every day this year. So my content is a little bit more varied than it would typically be because since I'm streaming every day, it depends on what I'm currently working on at that time. That would determine like what you might see. So some of my streams would include like my studying streams because I think Frozer had mentioned like I'm getting ready to go back to school because I want to pursue a PhD in machine learning and AI. So sometimes you'll see me studying because that's the main thing I've been studying over the past maybe like year or so. Um, I work with startups to build their MVPs, do a lot of client work that way. So sometimes you'll see me working on client projects. And usually when I'm working on client stuff, I won't share my screen. Y'all just get like y'all get this type of view, the lo-fi girl view, whenever I can't share my screen. In addition to those two things, yes, like a day like today, I just want to work on the pet project, like, because I've been doing a lot of studying and I've been doing a lot of app development because one of the apps I'm working on is going into beta at the end of the month. So I've just been getting those features over the finish line. My background, I have been in tech for I started learning how to code around 2014 or 2015, I think. You can actually see from my history in GitHub. I created my GitHub back in 2014. That's when I first started getting exposure to like coding and being in the tech field. I did like some self-teaching and took a lot of workshops and stuff and got into freelance web development, freelance front-end web development between like 2015 and 2016. In 2016, I decided I wanted to be a full stack developer, and I also felt like I wanted more guidance on learning the back end because I wasn't really doing a good job of being disciplined and sitting down and putting time towards the back end. And so in 2016, I took a Java boot camp. That's how I really solidified my back end skills. And then from there, I worked as I started getting into teaching in the coding bootcamp space as well. Since I already had front end experience, I did some front end programs when I came out of my bootcamp. I taught front end web development for a while, and then I went on to work as a full stack software engineer for multiple years here. And then back in 2021, I got back into teaching for coding boot camps. I teach part time now still, but I also have been venturing back into client work and just kind of working on different projects that I'm interested in. So that's kind of where I am now. I also am a founder of a nonprofit here in Detroit called Detroit Black Tech. And in addition to our nonprofit, where we do like a lot of tech and coding related events, we also have a conference called Hacking with the Homies. And that's an annual conference that we do. We started it back in 2020. And this year is going to be our 5th year anniversary. So I'm very, very passionate about like tech community, organizing events, teaching is like my biggest passion, helping people kind of transition into the field. So welcome if you're new. I hope that was a good little backstory. I need to like clip that. These are my plans for the weekend, Dookie. Are you using your laptop screen as a main screen? No. I have this screen over here. If y'all can see it. I have this screen over here. That's the screen I'm looking at. That's the one that I'm sharing with y'all. My laptop screen right now is is the stream. So this is Streamlabs software, so I can see y'all chatting and stuff. And then I still have to have YouTube open because we do multi-stream to YouTube now. And then obviously this one over here is just my other reference. Normally this is the monitor I share, but I think it makes more sense for me to face this way instead of y'all seeing the back of my head. But yeah, so no, even though this is a very nice monitor because this is a 15-inch. It's the I just got my MacBook Pro, Pro chip MacBook Pro, so it is a nice screen. Can't lie. Um, so yeah. But yeah, let me know what kind of stuff y'all work on. Most people I kind of know in the chat, so but if you new, feel free to oh, and thank you for the follow too, Van Corno, because I noticed that you followed earlier and during Frozier stream. Have a similar screen for the stream related stuff. It's a cool idea. Really wish a lot of people had her passion. Man, we kind of I don't know. That's a whole thing. Um it's like I can't remember who I was even just talking about this with, but it's like we living in this world right now where I don't know if it's like people so busy trying to be other people, or even in the generation that's coming up, because I have younger siblings. A lot of my cousins and stuff and my brothers they're 10 years younger than me or more. And it's like they're just different. They having a different experience than I feel like we had growing up. For better or for worse, because I was born in 1990, right? So I'll be 34 this year. So I'm definitely hardcore millennial, but we came up in the era where it was like, we our well, I want to say like our elders had expectations of us. We was taught that we needed to do certain things. And I think that even though a lot of stuff changed for us as we were growing up, we came up in a time where, you had to do work to get stuff done. Like, I'm like, bro, you couldn't even say you wanted to go out with your friends on the weekend without having to like look up Google. I mean, it wasn't even Google Maps. We had like MapQuest, right? If I was like, oh, I want to go somewhere, I got to look up MapQuest. I got to print out a piece of paper. And then I got to hope that as I navigate and follow those directions, that one, I don't get lost, and two, I got to hope that I can navigate around whatever the real time situation is on my path, basically. Compared to, when it comes to how we do it now, where it's like so many things is handed to you, so many things is automatic. And I feel like that's really causing a lot of struggles for people. Or you see so many people online, everybody's quote unquote successful, and you really don't know what their life look like, but you just know what they post online, and it's just a lot. So I'm like, bro, my passion comes from me being real. Like, this is really my life, you know what I mean? I live stream just because I want people to see what it's really like, because I always hated that my students would struggle and they would look at me like, oh, you got it all figured out. And I'm like, I literally just had a panic attack in the bathroom because of my anxiety teaching this new topic. But y'all don't see that part. You know what I mean? And that's just me, because I have dealt with anxiety and all these other kind of things. So it's like, y'all don't see that part. So all y'all see me get up in front of the class and have a well-formed example. And, I stand up here with confidence, even though I feel terrified on the inside. Y'all can't see that. So it was so hard for my students to associate with me, because they're looking at me like, well, oh, you just got it figured out. You just so this, you just so that. And I'm like, nope, I'm just like y'all. I have a certain way about myself where I don't mind being uncomfortable. And, so when I started live streaming with coding and stuff, I was like, I teach a lot. So I could have been doing like workshops and teaching and stuff like that. But I'm like, I don't want this to be that. I want this to be the space where you come see like this, the real deal behind the scenes, because how it look on YouTube tutorials is not how it is in our day-to-day life. So that's a whole little other thing. But Dr. T, thank you for the sub. I appreciate it. I hope, oh wait, matter of fact, Let me get my coworker over here because I think Dr. T might be streaming too. Yes, there's Dr. T, y'all. Let's see Dr. T. I'll do this. Just chatting. Ooh. Can y'all see her? She looking like where's Waldo right now? Because it's so much. It's cute though, but I think it's tiny for y'all. But there's Dr. T right here in her very fancy setup. So yeah, like I'm like my passion just comes from me being legit myself, like, and that's not always easy to do. I understand the world we live in is like, it's not always easy to do. Always wondered what made me get into tech. Okay, I like building stuff. I like being creative. Well, maybe I'll wait till the ad break is over because I see it's an ad break on Twitch. Because I want to answer that question. My journey into soft dev is a weird one. I was just trying to practice my English, especially the pronunciation. For this reason, I started doing voice acting, started making NPC mods for Skyrim. Then at some point I had to do some scripting and Papyrus for my mods, and then I was like, wow, I can code, let's do something serious. And I got into mobile dev. Ooh, okay, Van Corno, I love your story. I love it. And Dookie has said, I always wondered what made you get into tech. How'd I get into tech? So, and I'm gonna start my terminal up too while I'm doing this. So how I got into tech, I'll do the short story. When I was growing up here in Detroit, I always went to public school in Detroit, but I was always considered a quote unquote smart kid. I was very good at math and science. Very, very good at math, which part of it, I think math is something I'm naturally, like that I naturally enjoy, but also I always had the most amazing math teachers. I promise you, I never had a bad math teacher the entire time I was in grade school. And honestly, that's a blessing in and of itself. So anyways, I was always good at math. I went to our quote unquote premier school here, a high school here called Renaissance, and I graduated from there. And when I was at Renaissance, that's a college prep school, so it's an expectation that we're going to go to universities, and most if not like a good majority of people go to Ivy League schools as well, or something similar to Ivy League, because technically Ivy League is a specific batch of schools, but some type of top tier school. Me, on the other hand, when I graduated, I didn't even know what STEM careers there were. I never had exposure to STEM careers. The only thing that people told me I could do was that I could be a math teacher. And don't get me wrong, because like I teach now, so it's like I understand that's a possibility, but I actually spent time, and when they said math teaching, they were really thinking like grade school basically. So I took that as a potential, and when I was in high school, whenever I had breaks from school, but the elementary school kids were still in school, I would actually go to my old elementary school where my brothers went to school at the time. I would volunteer in their classes and just kind of see like, could that be for me? I very quickly realized that was not for me. Now, that was the only options that I knew when I was graduating from high school, and I don't know how, because it's no reason why I graduated from like a top tier like prep school in my city, and yet I didn't get exposed to that. But that's a whole nother situation. So anyways, when I got to college, all I knew was, well, I've been studying music these past 4 years, and I really like math, but I didn't know what to do. So I decided to major in music and minor in math. I was a vocal performance major actually for 3 years in college. So I have like a lot of history of classical music education, stuff like that. So anyways, classical training, all that. So when I was a senior in college, I was just kind of like at a point where I'm like, I don't get the same passion. I don't have the same passion for music that everybody else has. Like, don't get me wrong. I love music. I have always loved music. I have been singing since like before I could talk. But music as a profession was not something that got me excited. Like practicing all the time and all this other kind of stuff. I didn't really enjoy that. And to be quite honest, I never practiced hardly ever. And I was at a point where I'm like, my voice teacher is really good. And she's gonna know after a while that I don't practice because I'm able to I'm able to pick up music really quickly and I'm able to follow along really quickly. So a lot of times when I would be in my literally in my one-on-one lessons, I know, I have experience sight reading. I have experience like with music in general. So I was just I was just basically flying by the seat of my pants, if you could put it like that. And I was like, and even if she would have never noticed, I'm looking at all my peers and I'm like, they really putting in the work. They're really doing what they supposed to be doing. And they have a different, what's the word? Like a different work ethic towards our profession that we're trying to get into than I do. So at the same time, I was like, I miss like math, because like, call me a nerd or whatever, but I'm like, I really miss math. So at the time, by this time, because I was going into my senior year, which is like going into my fourth year. So I was a third year student. I was a junior. And by this point, I had just pledged to my sorority. So in my sorority, some of my other chapter members, they were engineering students. Like one of my prophytes, she's an engineer, but also she has two older sisters, and both of her older sisters are engineers. They all in different disciplines, right? So I was around some people who already came into school knowing about computer science, knowing about engineering, and that's what they had been studying. So, when I was just kind of like, I don't know what to do. Like, I like math, but I don't really know what to study. And they were just like, why don't you be an engineer? I'm like, I don't even know what an engineer is. Like, I didn't know what an engineer was. And I was like 21 at the time, probably. So anyways, I ended up changing my major into mechanical engineering. Obviously everybody looked at me like I was crazy, but I ended up changing it into mechanical engineering. And basically what I decided was, it was best for me to, I'm like, nobody's going to pay for me to get a second bachelor's degree. So it's best for me to change into the major I want now. That's pretty much what I had decided on. So I did that. I was enjoying being in the engineering program actually, but my struggles came with like more systemic stuff in college. Like I didn't have support to like pay for school and stuff like that. Like I needed my financial aid and everything, and I was always struggling with financial aid, whether they would like just remove awards that I already had on my account, so then they would leave me with a balance, and it's like, so y'all can do that, or if they would take too long to process my paperwork and stuff. And I was that kid that like, I had my FAFSA submitted on January 1st. Like, it ain't no reason why my stuff should, you know what I mean? I always always was on it with my paperwork and everything that I needed. But I was just experiencing so many issues. And then at the time, I ended up doing an internship. We have a program here in Detroit called Grow Detroit's Young Talent, which is called GDYT. Okay, this is not the mongoose. That's not the mongoose. I want MongoDB. But we had a program called Grow Detroit's Young Talent, and I ended up being an intern for a coding boot camp. Oh, I just realized I'm not even sharing my screen no more. So I ended up being an intern at this coding boot camp that was starting back in around 2014. And this is when coding boot camps were very new, y'all. How long they gonna make noise? Okay, so this is when coding boot camps were very new, and even though I was an engineering student, it's a different culture. Engineering, traditional engineering, and tech has a very different culture. So I was very involved. Like, I was in the National Society of Black Engineers, and I was like a student leader and stuff like that. But tech, like, it was different. So when I went to the boot camp, or when I was working for the boot camp, they were up and coming as a boot camp at the time. I got to sit in on different classes, different workshops and things that they were teaching. So that's when I learned more about like web development and stuff like that. And it was very, very awesome to kind of see it in a more informal space, I guess you could say. And that's when I really found like, okay, this is for me, because I started to sit in on these different classes and I was like, oh, I can understand this, but also I really like am curious about this and enjoy it. So I just kind of went all in on it at that point. So that's why I have a GitHub account that started back in 2014. So anyways, once I was getting into coding, I was still in school, but I was an intern I ended up working as a part-time worker at the boot camp, but I started freelancing in front-end web development. That was fun, but I did have like confidence issues in my skill set because I was still so new, and a lot of stuff that I was doing was mostly self-taught as well. So I didn't, so I was still kind of feeling like trying to feel my way. Then eventually my issues with school was just getting so bad to the point where I was just like, this is stupid. Like I came to school to get a job so I can make money to support myself, and y'all just like it was counterproductive. So anyways, I ended up getting to the point where I was like, okay, I work for a coding boot camp, and I'm literally watching people come in here, go to a boot camp for 3 months, and then they leave and they get like 50K, 60K, 70K. And like, especially in the Detroit market, that's a lot because that's, I want to say, even when I got my first software job back in like 2017, 2016, something like that, and I was making like 50K, that's middle class here, because of the cost of living in Michigan. So yeah, it literally was like, you could go from being below the poverty line to like actually being able to live like a comfortable lifestyle and stuff like that. And then of course it's really only up from there, because after a while I was making 6 figures, and that was only after like maybe a couple of years being in the field. So yeah, that's kind of how my path ended me up in tech. So I got really into it and I started studying it. I started doing freelance stuff. I did take a boot camp because I wanted like the discipline for me, even though I was experienced already at the time in programming, just being able to go through a structured program and having the accountability of working with my instructors, having the like camaraderie of my cohort. I essentially left school. Like I literally like just didn't go back to school that semester, and I did a full-time boot camp, and then that was like my transition into the field. So that was a long story long, but thank you, Boat Boy Kaden. You like my hair? Don't like my patch. I'm about to cut my hair again. I got problems. Or either I gotta figure out a new color for my patch, yo. See, I got too many. My roots are out of control. And then thank you for the follow as well. Dr. T over here doing the whole dance breakdown. Okay, so when I mentioned in Frozer's channel that I was having trouble with my music making software, it turned out that almost everybody there on the coding stream. Oh yeah. That's what I love too. Being in coding, like you will realize we all got musical backgrounds. I'm not gonna say all, but like it's a lot of people that are in coding who sing, play instruments, write music, compose. It's like DJ. It's a lot. My background, my main instrument is voice, and yes, voice is an instrument. If you didn't know, it's also the hardest instrument to play, by the way. I've played quite a few instruments, and ain't nothing harder than playing voice. I've been a singer like pretty much all my life, but I have dabbled in. I used to play violin when I was younger. That was my first instrument. I'm trying to get back into guitar and piano. Oh, I don't think y'all can see it, but I got a guitar in here, brand new guitar that I bought last year I got a new keyboard as well, so I'm gonna be setting up my music workstation. Actually, this desk that I'm at right now is gonna become my like my studio desk basically. Then I'm gonna get a bigger desk for the main, like my main workstation. But software dev is for creative people, contrary to what people usually think. Exactly, because I don't know why people think that coding is not creative. I don't know. It's just so funny to me. It's like it's a lot of things that are less creative than coding, but coding is extremely creative. Of course, if you in the field, you probably already understand that. Preacher said creativity and code. Did I hear my name? Yes, we called for you. Preacher literally, like all his projects and stuff is like creative code, literally. Code and music, different modes, interlacing code with different modes and mediums that people don't even necessarily think about. He got that on lock. My noodles extra cold. But yeah, so like I said, that was a long story long, but that's how I originally got into the field. Now, why I'm very passionate about teaching is because I was so offended, y'all, when I found out that like it was a whole, like, you would never know the amount of fury that was in my spirit when I realized at like 22 years old that there was a whole subset of careers that was geared towards my specific skills, I guess you could say. I was so offended, bro, because I was like, all this shit that I could have been, and y'all just told me I could be a math teacher. And like I said, I'm not trying to, what is Dr. T doing? I'm not trying to like put down teaching in any way, shape, or form. I teach all the time now. But knowing that I had this extremely high like capacity for math, and math at a very high level as well, the fact that that was the only thing that people could tell me, and then I was offended because, y'all, we literally have a program in Detroit called DAPSEP, Detroit Area Pre-College Engineering Program, DAPCEP, DAPSEP. And DAPSEP definitely would have been running in my middle school and high school. And somehow still, like, nope, I never even was sent to DAPSEP or nothing like that. So yeah, I was real offended when I found out that it was a whole world of things that I was never even exposed to. And you know, I can't get upset necessarily at like the people in my life who didn't recommend that for me, just because even with a lot of them, like, I know some people, like, their experience is limited. So in my family, like my aunts and uncles are from a way older generation, because my mom is way younger than her siblings. So they're from a generation where some of them didn't even go to college. Some of them just learned a trade, and they have basically worked in their field for their entire life, you know what I mean? Versus that, where we kind of hit this transitionary period where people actually went to college and, you know, got a degree in order to get into a field. So anyways, I say all that to say, it's not like I had like people in my family that were engineers or had experience with computer science or anything like that. So it's like, okay, I get it, but like in school is no reason why I didn't get, like, that wasn't even presented as an option. So that really pissed me off. And as me being somebody who found that I'm actually really good at teaching, I'm really good at translating like something that's very highly technical into like layman's terms, I guess you could say. I feel like it's a duty for me to help people in that transitionary phase. So I don't think that coding is necessarily for everybody, but I feel like everybody should know that it's an option for them, basically. Now, whether you like it or not, whether it's something that's suited for, the type of lifestyle you want to live, that's a whole different thing. But at least you should know that it's an option. At least you should be able to go and take a class on it if you want to, and kind of be able to try it out for yourself. At least you should have the encouragement that you need. Like, that's kind of, you know what I mean? That's how I am, and that's how I feel about it. So that's why I'm very involved in the tech community. I'm very involved in trying to increase diversity, because realistically, a lot of the shit that I experience is because I'm a Black girl from like a single parent home in Detroit. Like, I'm being real. Like, this is the reality of the life. Like, I grew up here being like stellar at math and science, and yet somehow I didn't even know what the heck an engineer was until I was 22. So, it is what it is. But I'm the type of person where I don't mind being that person that's out front. I don't care. I don't think everybody should have to be like this though. But I do believe that for me, since I don't mind, I was saying this recently, like, I don't care about kicking doors open and doing whatever we got to do to make it to where other people don't have to do that. That's pretty much where I am. So I will get on my soapbox I will get on my soapbox in here. But it's all for the benefit. It's all for the benefit of everybody. The thing that is funny is when people realize that I actually code. Like, some people think creative coding doesn't implement coding programming techniques. People don't realize the subset of computer science, coding, HCI, and others. And even education is beyond teaching and other stuff. I don't mind being random. Yeah, completely agree. Okay, so it's just funny. It's just funny. Like you said, Bridget, it's funny. Because people be looking like, I'm going to call it what I feel like it is. What I feel like it is a lot of times is, it's not even that people sometimes don't think that this certain, like, it's not that they don't think that something is technical. They just don't be associating some of us with being technical. So it could be that, it could not be that, but this is my experience because I'm a Black woman in this field. So I have had classes where the students walking in on their first day of boot camp, and they expected me to sit down with them, and I'm standing at the front of the room, and then they're like, oh, she's standing up there, so she must have like announcements for us or something. And I'm like, so let's talk about y'all pre-work, like, let's get class started. And that really throws people off. I have had so many people like challenge me. It's like, you don't even know how to code yet, how you challenging me and I'm the teacher? Or, when you in certain environments, it's like, prime example with Twitch, people gonna come in, y'all will see it. Some people who be here all the time, y'all will see it. People gonna come in my stream and ask if I'm a beginner. Always. They always gonna do it. And at first it was kind of like, oh, that happens every so often. But now it's just like, really? Every time? And I don't never be doing nothing that's beginner. Like, I don't never be doing nothing beginner. But people always do that. And here and there, I might could chalk it up to, they don't read and they just made an assumption. But a lot of it is chalked up to the fact that y'all look at me and I don't, quote unquote, look like a coder. I look like I'm probably just starting, when I have students that are senior software engineers now. Like, I've been in the game for a little bit. I literally have students that run their own teams now because they've been doing it that long. One of my students, he just got promoted to the engineering lead of his company. And that's so crazy to me. It made me feel old. And I'm like, I know I probably look a little bit younger than I actually am. And that throws people off too. I'm trying to debate on where I want to start with this, but that throws people off too. But you know what I mean? Because I feel like, and I'm just being real, I feel like from my perspective, if I was to get swapped out with insert random white boy here, no matter how young he looks or inexperienced he might be, there's always a stronger assumption for him being technical and me being a secretary. And again, no shade to somebody that's a secretary, but it's like you just assuming stuff. I come into a meeting, I come into a like a business meeting or something like that, and you think I'm about to take notes. I'm presenting, bro. So somebody else gonna have to take notes. You know what I mean? So it's just interesting because you see people's biases sticking out, and it makes people uncomfortable too because it's like a lot of times you I don't think a lot of people are malicious in it. It's just you just making assumptions instead of really checking where your thought process is going. I didn't even know what programming was in high school and just stumbled on it later in life. Yeah. A lot of kids are into computer games and things like that. Some of them just need encouragement in order to find that things are like software development available to them and not just gaming streamers. When I was growing up, we didn't know that we was doing web development when we would be on like nick.com forums or having like different social media pages, different blogs and stuff. And we were editing our pages and basically writing HTML. We didn't know what that was. Cause I was doing that stuff all in elementary school. I mean, all in middle school and all in high school, and I never knew what I was doing. Um, Also, the presence of algorithms, math, computing that is in our everyday life, from decision matrix to physics to how we wear clothes in certain scenarios. Yeah, it's all there, but it's all in how you think about it, and it's all in how it's presented to you as well. So that's why it was funny to me. Even though historically for me, like data structures and algorithms just as a concept was always something that I had considered to be intimidating for a while, but then those, even though when I understood what it was in practice, I'm like, oh, I know how to do that. But just like the way that people used to throw the terms around, it seemed very like it was intimidating to me in some regard because people made it seem like, oh, it's just this hurdle that you can like, it's just so hard. Um, and the funniest thing is that this is for me personally. When I found out, because I started getting interested in machine learning back in like 2017, 2018. When I found out that machine learning underneath the hood, the main technology was based on like linear algebra and like matrix math and stuff, I was like, yes. I was so excited, like, because I'm a nerd for real. I love math. Um, so just like you don't have to be a mathematician. You don't have to be a mathematician in order to be, good with machine learning, especially different machine learning, like being able to apply machine learning. But me being the person that wants to go into the theory behind it and all that other kind of stuff, I'm just like, yes, 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 yes. I get to do the math that I never was able to like really put into practice. I'm excited about that. We live in a form of data structures and algorithms, but don't try to normalize it or get it as personalized. Yeah. So I like I said, I would get on my soapbox, y'all, but I just want I just want to be authentic about who I am, where I come from, and why I do what I do because it's important. And like I said, even me being a woman in the field, me being a black woman in the field, especially, I get challenged a lot. Some of it is personal, and a lot of it is not even personal. A lot of it is just that's kind of the nature of the field sometimes. I'm not saying that that's always what you have to experience because for the most part, I've never really had a bad team that I worked on. I've never, I've never been around a toxic environment for the most part, but I still have experienced different things. I still have experienced certain issues just because it's a different type of culture. So, prime example, my favorite company I ever worked for, my favorite team I ever worked on, one of my favorite coworkers I ever worked, like one of my top coworkers. All of them I was considered when I was working in this world. I would consider them some of my favorite coworkers. But we were in a pair program. We were in a pair programming environment, and we were heavily pairing to the point where you didn't really work without a pair. So unless you had an uneven team, and we did rotate too. So even if we had an uneven number of people, you would never like be consistently working by yourself. So I say that to say, one day I was working with my pair partner and we was working on some idea, and I had suggested something, right? I came up and made a suggestion about something. And then when we got back into the bigger team, he presented my suggestion as his suggestion. And it was just so funny to me because I was like, by this point, I'm not like a baby in this field no more. So when that happened, like it wasn't no like bad blood, but I just had to call him out on that. Like we literally sitting there and he's like, "Oh, so I was thinking this." And I was like, "Did you say that or did I say that?" And then he was like, "You right." Okay. We just had like it was just that simple. Because I wouldn't even mind it if you said we came up with this, because we are pair partners and we was working together. But you're not going to take the exact words out of my mouth and then present them as your own, and then I'm just going to sit there and look at you. And he never did that again. And nobody else tried that either. You know what I mean? So it's like, at the same regard, I don't feel like that should be necessary. Because what if I wasn't the type of person who wanted to, like, who felt comfortable to call that out? Then he would have just literally been taking credit for an idea that he didn't even come up with on his own at all. And that, like I said, I don't think that was personal. I think that that's how some people operate. And in tech, sometimes that can be how people operate, especially depending on what kind of schools they went to. Because sometimes y'all might not realize, depending on different schools that people went to, they can't help but to be competitive. Because when you go to a school with a grading curve and it's like everybody can't get an A, even though everybody got an A, that makes people, that they breed competitiveness. Did I make up a word? Hold on. Meaning competitiveness. I don't think it's competitive. I think it's competitive. Anyways, but they breed this competitiveness into people as they are being groomed for the field. So you go to Silicon Valley, and for whatever you might say about the actual CEOs and stuff that's dropouts, a lot of the students are not dropouts. They got Ivy League degrees, they got top 10, top 20, top 30 school, degrees, and these are highly competitive schools. So it's like a lot of times they can't even help it because that's the environment that they was bred in, and that's okay. But just, being able to be comfortable in that environment and being able to be like me, I said, I don't care about being that person. I don't care about having to speak up and say certain things. With all due respect. So I would like to make it a more comfortable environment for people that's not necessarily like that. Because I've seen it a lot. People struggle when I'm deciding how I'm gonna start this project, y'all. People struggle when they are soft spoken or they are passive, because it's the field. It's like a lot of the people in the field, they not bred like that. They not bred to like make sure everybody voice is heard. They bred to make sure they voice is heard. They bred to make sure they can climb the ladder. You know what I mean? So, and that is completely separate from somebody either being racist or sexist or whatever. That's just a whole nother, you know what I mean? That's a whole ball game in and of itself. So that's something I have learned over the years. Like, I don't take a lot of stuff offensively. I just understand the rules that I'm playing within. You know what I mean? So it's fine because I'm that type of person. But I don't, like I said, I just don't feel like everybody should have to fight that uphill battle if that's not, if that's not how they are naturally. I got into some of those algorithms by accident when I was looking for a creative project and was into ant swarming algorithms. Also, how to reinvent the PC from scratch, and did an architecture design of how a futuristic computer built on human, bio, and AI can be. I can send this paper even though it's old. It should still be dope. Heck yeah, man. Send your paper. So I be getting off on the tangent sometimes, but this is what we doing over here. Okay. What is my node version manager? Okay. NVM use dash LTS? I'm still trying to remember my NVM commands. So I'm using a node version manager. What's the So I always have to remember to pick my environment. I'm going to make a repository for the back end. I think I'm just going to call it the Love API. Y'all think I can make a Love API repo on GitHub? Or somebody? Well, I guess my repos only have to be specific to me. Love API. That says Lovey API. That also says Lovey API. Okay. I also put baby boy to sleep. Like, I put him down for his nap right before I started streaming. He was still up for a second, but I think he's asleep now. So assuming they don't get too loud with this, they cleaning out the basement downstairs. He should be good for a little while. Okay. I need to be able to write. And then we need to light our candle too. Have y'all noticed I've been lighting this is like my coding candle. I was doing this back when I was in my room at my family's house as well, but y'all couldn't see it because the angle of the computer. Trying to light the candle with the other wick, but the wax is melting. This candle about to be done. It's halfway. It's less than half. It's about a third. I'm gonna invest in a bunch of candles soon because I'm gonna be burning them all the time now. But this one I really like. It's called Coconut Rose Water, and I got it at Target. It smells so good. It sets the vibe. And one thing I learned about I feel like I might hear the baby. One thing I learned about just like working and like a working mindset is that it's good to have like cues, visual cues, or environment cues that helps you know what mode you're supposed to be in. So for example, the reason why I started using a candle is because in my old room that I just moved from, my desk was where I worked at and it was where I played at, right? It was like I might stream, I might be working on a project, I might be studying. It was a lot of different modes that I used my desk for. So that was good in the sense that I had a separate workspace from like lounging on the couch or sleeping in the bed, but it also meant that I didn't want to always be in work mode whenever I sit at my desk. But I did want to know, like, when I'm in work mode, I'm in work mode. So anyways, I started using my desk lamp and my candles as like an indicator. So when my candle is on, I'm working. When my candle is off, I'm chilling. Or when my desk lamp was on, or my desk lamp was a certain color. Like, because back then, whenever I was streaming, my desk lamp might be like pink or something. So when my desk lamp was on in a certain color, then it helped me to kind of get into the practice of knowing, like, okay, this is our mode, and then it keeps my mindset in that right mode, if that makes sense. Now, the extra perk is that my house be smelling good from this candle. Okay, so we are going to set up a repository here. Let's keep ChatGPT's basic info as a starting point. So the first thing I want to do is copy this link. I just want the original link. Copy this link. Okay. And then we go into Notion. What happens if I embed it? Is it actually gonna embed it? Oh, okay. The embed works pretty well, actually. So let's do this. I want this on the side. And then I'm gonna delete this one. In Ukraine, mostly guys are into IT. Would be nice to have more women. The culture's got to change a bit to make it more equal. For girls, it's just like you said, you go become a math teacher or some accountant if you're good at math. Some stereotypes from the Soviet past. Yeah, I can see that. And like you said, if there's a issue in like a balance of having more men in the field, when it's a less diverse, however the diversity is, when it's a less diverse group in a specific field, regardless of what the group is, some of the harder parts of making it more diverse is like I was saying, it's the cultural part of it. So like for me, a lot of stuff that I saw that people was calling sexist or even racist that they might experience in the field, it wasn't really coming from that. I'm not saying that there's not people that have not been like sexist or racist, but a lot of what people was taking, they were taking it personal, and it's not personal, right? So if you have a field, like for example, if you have a field that's mostly women, there's going to be certain type of culture that's going to be different than if it's a field that's mostly men. And when you try to cross over the two, it's really a lot of those differences in how we do things, like at a larger scale. Like obviously every man's not the same, every woman's not the same, I understand that, but in general, right, women tend to be more nurturing, right? For example, women tend to talk more about how they feel, what they think, have more discussions, things like that. You know what I mean? So the way that a all woman team might interact with each other and the way that the all man team might interact with each other is can be very different. So just understanding how to like navigate that and how to make it more, how to open up the conversation. I think that's a lot more of what we have been experiencing. That's completely aside from people who are actually genuinely like malicious. So it's like once I started looking at it from that perspective, it's like I don't get it. I don't get offended like that. Like when I realized like, okay, all my counterparts went to schools where literally everybody couldn't get an A in the class, even if everybody got an A in the class. So now I can see, I can understand a little bit more what the culture is like that they came up in. So it's just very interesting. Once you look at it from that perspective, you can see a little bit more like how to help make that a better experience. Like, for example, everybody's not going to be necessarily more aggressive and more direct. So taking the time to make sure that you actually point out other people in the room who haven't spoke up, or making the time to call on or call out somebody's idea if they're more soft spoken. That kind of stuff is more helpful than just being like, oh, we just need to be more diverse. And it's like, you need the environment to be more supportive of different types of people. You can't just put new people in the environment and don't change the culture of what people are coming into, if that makes sense. Cultural difference, but also stereotypes within the field on what skill is needed in the subfields. Coding is going okay. I'm not really doing much right now, but I'm gonna get this board set up. I'm gonna put my tasks in here. Then I'm going to go to then I'm gonna start my repo because I think it's a bad idea. Oh wait. I don't even gotta do that. I can just do this because I got my chat right here. That's so good. That's so good. I literally got my reference right here that I'm gonna use to make my tasks. But yeah. A lot of times people be like, oh, diversity. They just thinking like diversity is getting more people in. But then you get more people in and then they hate the environment, so they leave. Like, even as me being a mom, right? If I give that as an example, I'm a mom. So the way that I can interact with my work or could interact with my work before versus now is very different. When I was just a single 20 something, like working in software, especially working in startups, it didn't matter if I was on call at 3:00 in the morning getting paged. That didn't matter. But if I was on call for like services now and getting paged like how I was getting paged back in the day, I would literally lose my shit. Like I would not be able to handle it because I barely get enough sleep as it is with my child, let alone factoring in the part about being on call and having to worry about getting woke up at random hours in the night and stuff like that. So, you know what I mean? So it's just different. So if you in an environment where you're not around other parents, it's not even just about it being other moms or other dads or whatever. Just being in an environment where the rest of the company is not like doesn't have like families or they don't have children. we gonna have differences in how our experiences are and what we understand about each other's experiences. So I'm very curious as we kind of talking about that. Like, I feel like that's kind of the work that I like to do. I like to be more realistic about how we really get I think everybody wants it to be more diverse, but the hows are a lot more nuanced than people really acknowledge. And that's all. Dang, they taking so much stuff out the basement. I don't know what they doing down there. But yeah, that's all still completely separate from the part that, yeah, you still have to deal with stereotypes and all kind of other extraness. Where's the tasks? Is it I feel like I just did a whole life hack, y'all. This is a life hack right here. So we're gonna say set up a project. Subtasks will be create a Node.js project. Initialize with npm. Install dependencies. I want Express and Mongoose. All right, so that's the first one. Next one is going to be to define the database schema. Next one is implement express routes. I'm going to say implement the hello world express routes, and then separate determine or I'm gonna make a card specifically for, what's the word I want to use, like I basically want to set up the cards for all of the API routes. So that'll be a separate, this is a separate card because I need to actually go through. I wouldn't put all the routes in this one. I wouldn't put all the routes in this one card because look at all these. That's not even it. Look at all these. I wouldn't put all of this on the same card, but each one of these really needs to be its own individual. So that's what this placeholder card is going to handle. But this card is going to handle just setting up the basic, getting the basic app running. Probably with a landing page or something like that. This is good though. This gives me something really like nice to work on. I think throughout this year, a pet project like this, a streamer tools project, doing my machine learning studies, which eventually is going to transition into me working on my schoolwork. And then I'll have my like client work, MVP development, client work. I think that's going to be the main technical things that I focus on. So I like having like this is really big, honestly. This is something I could really be working on for this whole year. I like this because it's so inclusive. I can basically incorporate everything that I want to incorporate into this project. And take the time to actually build it out in the way that it should be built, and not just build out a half-ass app basically. So it's good to have a pet project like this that has nothing tied to it. It's just for me to learn and explore and be able to build. My streamer tools, I really am looking at the possibility of turning that into a business in a sense. Even if it's just on a simpler scale. If you caught like the episode that we did on our podcast back in, it was on the Hacking with the Homie show. We did an episode, startups for technical founders, and I think what we really were talking about in this one, between episode 4 and episode 5, is kind of what I'm thinking about with the streamer tools. I haven't really decided what I want to do with it yet, but just the basics I can explain is that at this point I know that I might be doing some things open source, and then maybe having like a paid component of it, or I might just do open source and find another way. Like basically there's gonna be the component that I build, and then there's gonna be the monetizing aspect of it. But I'm gonna really sit down with my other co-founder and talk to him about that, because he's like the person that I usually go to for that type of advice. So anyways, I'm saying that to say that ultimately I want this project to be just the project that I can keep working on. It's a personal project. If I monetize the app, maybe I monetize the app. But this is something where I just want it to be a very thorough, like well thought out project. And it's not necessarily tied to anything in particular except me growing, especially in my skills as a senior engineer, because I don't get to do a lot of deep software work as much as I would like to. So I have this, and then the flip side of that is I have the tools that I want to build, but also really have a stronger emphasis on building a business model around. And that's my two tech streams. My MVP client work and stuff like that is more contractual. So I work with different teams throughout the year. So that will always kind of be consistent, and but whichever project I'm working on, it'll change every few months. But that's like a steady stream of work, and then my studying is a stream. So that's kind of what I think that I'm gonna focus in on throughout this year. It's good to have like a plan, because I know myself, right? So even now you can see I've been studying and I've been working on MVP work throughout this month, and I just want to work on something that's for me right now. Something that I can spend as much time learning on as I want to. And as much as I want that to be the streamer project, the streamer tools, I don't think that it's good for the streamer tools to be my hobby project, if that makes sense. Because if I want to monetize that and build a business model around it, I'm going to have to balance me wanting to learn with me wanting to make money, essentially. So I'm just giving myself, as I've just been really trying to think about making this sustainable, I'm giving myself a balance of the types of things I need to feel good about, what I'm working on throughout the year. Because even if I only ever worked on this like on Saturdays, every Saturday I worked on this project all year, that would be something. Or every Saturday and Sunday I worked on this project all year, that would be something. And then during the week, I'll be studying like at least 20-30 hours a week probably, and then I will be balancing the rest of my time between the MVP development work and building out my own small scale like startup project. I think that would be I think that would give me enough variation throughout the year to feel good about, and going forward too, because with school, I'm basically asking for I'm putting myself on a 5 to 7 year journey at this point. It's gonna take 2 to 3 years to do the masters, and then from there it'll still take 4 to 5 years to do the PhD. Yeah, 7 years. So I'm trying to learn how to build myself something that's sustainable. I will probably still do other small pet projects and stuff, but because I have to do like a lot of AI projects and stuff like that, I'm gonna have to do stuff for school, all that kind of stuff. But the reason why I want to have one long-standing project is because it's certain things it's certain experiences you're not going to get out of building a bunch of small stuff. Like in this project, I need actually to set up. I'm gonna put this on here so I won't forget. I need to set up a testing environment. Set up a TDD environment. I need that. So this is a project that can really be like, okay, this is this is really an opportunity for me to bring all the things together. But be able to take my time in implementation for the sake of learning. And hopefully this will be a good base for everything else that I do. Because this is going to be an opportunity to where, since I have the back end, if I want to explore React Native, like I said, on the front end, then I'll be able to do that. If I want to integrate this into a Dalo on the front end, I'll be able to do that. If I want to just go all in and learn Swift, I'll be able to do that, right? So that's kind of my thought process. Foxtrot, welcome in. Frozer, oh, y'all came in at the same time. What the heck? How's it going? Wait, Frozer, is y'all still out for the games? Been here for about 30 minutes. I love the lurks, y'all. I love the lurks. I appreciate them. But yeah, Van Corno was also sharing their story in getting into dev, and I loved it. It's like you kind of started out being like, oh, I want to learn how to do this thing, and then next thing you know, you went down this rabbit hole, and you're like, I went down the rabbit hole into Alice Wonderland, and I came out as a developer. About to pick up from practice and then some lunch. Heck yeah. I wish y'all could see my cup. Y'all can't even see it because it's a black design, but it's got something brown inside of it. When I drink it down, I'm gonna show y'all. I made this. Yeah, I'll let you tell your story when Frozer has time to check in with it. But long story short, today, Frozer, I'm setting up one long-standing project. It's a project that ChatGPT gave me the idea for. So that's what I'm kind of doing now. Translating the project into my board and then figuring out what's all the things I want to set up. This will be a long-standing project. So it's something that I can use as a learning tool, but also something that should be like fully formed. You know what I mean? I want this to turn into a big, full piece of software, including logging and monitoring and testing and all that. Versus my other long-standing project is going to be something that I'm trying to build a business model around. So that's what we own today. So this one is called the API for Love, and it was inspired by ChatGPT, who just voluntarily gave me a coding idea when I said, give me some Valentine's Day themed projects for software engineering. So the short is, API for Love app is a mobile app that allows couples to create and share their own API endpoints for expressing love, with features like sending virtual hugs, kisses, or romantic messages. And even though it's more so geared towards couples, I think I want this to be geared towards friendships, siblings, like just relationships in general, actually, I think. The baby is up. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs. I'm gonna finish getting all these tasks in here, and then I'm gonna go get him up, because he will start yelling at me after a while. I'm gonna get him up, make sure he gets changed, and if he needs a bottle or something like that, so then he will just run around and play while I work on getting the basics of the app set up. Trying to find what is the big project overall. The other project besides the API for Love, I don't know if you just caught the description. So API for Love is, you would basically have endpoints and also like little features. You could send like hearts and kisses. You can have commit messages for different parts of your relationship. So this is my learning, but this should also include test-driven development. This should also include things like alerts and monitoring and analytics, like user analytics and stuff like that. My other big project, the one that I want to build a business model around, is going to be streamer tools. As much as I think about it, in the simplest form, but also in a business aspect, I think streamer tools is of huge potential. Because if I think about it from a startup perspective, like the market of streamers and how the content creator, like the creator economy as they call it, how that's growing, and there's a lot of tooling in the Twitch space, so to speak. But as a bigger perspective, there's, you have stuff like, you do have some people coming along that's trying to simplify streaming. But I think still a lot of the companies that seem like they're trying to simplify streaming, I'm not sure they actually stream, you know what I mean? Like as individuals. So as a business, I'm interested in building a business around those streaming tools. If it's having some open source and finding a way to monetize on the open source, with like some managed services, or whether it's some other form that I don't know yet, we shall see. But I was showing y'all on the Hacking with the Homies podcast, on episode 4 and episode 5, we talked about what it means to be a technical founder, and then like how you can turn your side project into a side hustle by selling software. So those 2 episodes are kind of what I have in mind as far as like starting to think about me building a product that can generate revenue. So that's why I said I would like to have this project be separate from the one that I want to build a business model around, because when you want to make money and you want to run a startup, you and Rosaire talked about it a bit in his stream too. When you're trying to get a product out there, and the focus is really more so that you are trying to have a product in the market, you have to balance out how much you want to spend on taking a long time on a feature just for the sake of learning, right? For example. So this would be something where I could take my time if I want to learn a specific item, but it's going to be very fully featured in the sense that it's not going to be a beginner project after a while. You know what I mean? It should be as well formed as I could possibly make it, and continue to grow it and polishing my skills being a senior engineer. That's what I want this to be. Versus, like I said, with the streamer tools, sometimes I'm going to have to cut corners. I'm going to have tech debt. I'm going to have to be like, I don't like, kind of how Frozer has been doing in his stream, because he's trying to get his product out there. So it's like sometimes he's doing stuff because he wants to go fast, and that's the trade-off. And I think just knowing for me to separate those two and have this one project be something I can just build in over time to help grow my skills will help me. It will help me fill a void in a sense. So that's kind of where we at right now. So my thought process is, I'm thinking, because I'm gonna start coming up with like a more well structured like streaming schedule, but I just don't have a structured schedule right now, because in this first month of 365 days of code, I've just been trying to figure it out. Honestly, I gotta be real about that. The real challenge is going live every day. Where's the tasks? The real challenge is going live every day. So where is it? Oh, okay. Right now I'm just trying to make sure I show up to my streams every day. And then, but as I kind of go into February and kind of especially getting out of the first quarter of the year, I think I should have a better understanding of what my normal flow would be like, because I will benefit from getting on a schedule, honestly. But I think I'm at a point where I know I have analysis paralysis, as I was talking about recently. That's a huge showing, yeah. I have analysis paralysis, so one of the things I've been prioritizing is start gritty, you know what I mean? Start with something that's not perfect and then refine it. So if I would have tried to come up with a perfect stream schedule, I wouldn't be doing 365 days of code right now. I will be still trying to come up with a perfect stream schedule. So we are iterating. This is the year of iteration. See, I called this year activated. But I might switch that out. If y'all don't know, y'all be seeing these on my screen. This my it's kind of obvious when you like just look at it in perspective, but this is my vision board, I guess you could say. I kept my vision board on my desktop last year too, but this is basically my same vision board from last year with a couple modifications. I think this is a first class seat right here. I put that on there. I put write your book on here because we got our book coming out, and that's like something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I made sure I put that one here this year. And then I don't know why I thought this was funny. Canva had this frame. If you know frames in Canva, they have like all these different it's like masks, basically different masks that you can put images into. So instead of, I don't know why I was like, this is my mixtape, but it's not a mixtape in the sense of like singing or performing. It's a mixtape as like, it's a speaker. So this is more so me getting back into conference talks and stuff like that. So this one is new, this one is new, and the book one is new, but everything else that's here was on here for last year. So nobody asked, but that's what y'all see. That's my vision board. Oh, you good, Frozer? I know it'd be a lot going on. Honestly, when people be popping in, I pay attention to when y'all are actually in the chat. But I know y'all be having to do stuff like you got to get up, walk away. Sometimes you might never come back to the computer, so it's all good. Oh, you gonna re-listen to it? If you want me to re-explain it, I can. But yeah. Also, I'm live on YouTube. You could just rewind it on YouTube. That's one thing that Twitch cannot do. Fun fact, did you know that YouTube does encoding? They do the stream encoding in the cloud. Very fancy. Okay, I will make a card for stubbing out the endpoints. I think I want the hello world to fully work, and then we can stub out the endpoints. But then they still should be separate cards for every route that needs to be implemented. Like Restream. Oh, does Restream let you do that? But yeah, have fun with the games. I hope the games go well. I think you said your daughter has a game. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Implement Mongo. Where is it? Okay. Or integrate Mongo. This is just gonna be a placeholder right now because I don't know what all it's gonna take to get that running and working. User auth test. I'm gonna say a test collection because if I set up Postman, I should be able to set up a collection in Postman, and I think it'll be a good idea for me to go through and actually make a collection. Test backend endpoints. Let's see. Deploy backend. All right, so let's do this. This is all the backend stuff. Oh, and then we could do, let's see, documentation. Testing. Our list is getting long. I can't see everything. User feedback loop, security review. User Okay, so they put documentation on here twice, but I want to make sure they're different. So this is project setup, configuration, and deployment versus the API and the data structures. Okay. All right. So let's make sure all these tasks are on each card. This is the part that sucks, but this is the part that definitely needs to be prioritized. You will regret it in the long run if you do not get yourself organized. Backend development tasks. Okay, so I already got those. This one is gonna be define the MongoDB schema for user data messages. Let's actually do this. User data love messages. Right, because I can get milestones. Implement route handlers for CRUD operations. Okay. Do this one. I don't have anything for this one yet. I'm about to get a little bit slightly lazy with it, but not exactly. I'm just going to transfer all this data. Set up routes. I will call this the stubbing. Ooh, I'm about to have fun with this project, bro. And by fun, I mean it's about to be some hard ass work. That's what I mean by fun. Because integrate MongoDB. It's gonna be some hard work for real. Like test TDD is not easy. Like testing, when you decide what test you want to write, you could think that testing is easy. When you have to test everything, you realize how complicated testing can actually be, like software testing. Having tests in your system, having integration tests and canary tests and unit tests. Good luck with this dream. Heck yeah, go ahead and get some work done. Hopefully I will see you back around here, and have a happy Saturday as well. I'm here every day, y'all, so let's go back to the main one, because I'm gonna be consistent and I'm gonna copy all of these on here, so that way I'll be able to have a reference, because I'm gonna come back and flesh these cards out. What I really need to do this year at some point, sooner rather than later, I need to really take a project management training. Like, um, I have a lot of experience in project management, but realistically, I think I could benefit from like a more formal training. Even if it's just a book or like I know Google has one, because I have to do a lot of my own project management, and as I'm trying to grow my business and also the shared businesses that I have with my business partner, a lot of times the project management really falls to me, otherwise we don't have any. I wrote this on here, but technically that's okay though. But yeah, a lot of times the project management falls to me, otherwise we don't have any. And I think I know enough to be dangerous type of thing, but I could really benefit from like something more thorough. You planning on doing some testing? Heck yeah. I'm also working on my setup, y'all. Hold on, I kind of want to show y'all real quick. I'm working on how my desk looks from behind. I put up my little backdrop. It's cute, ain't it? I done had this thing for a long time. If you were OG in the stream, you've seen this curtain before in a number of different in a number of different contexts. But basically I'm setting up the backdrop to the computer. So behind me, I'm gonna sit with my back to the computer when I record for YouTube, basically. So I pretty much got it set up. I guess I don't know. I'm going to test it out later today. I'm gonna test it out and see like how much more. I just want to make it look a little bit prettier, a little bit cleaner. Because right now, like for streaming, it's okay, but it's cluttered in a sense. It's not like a huge amount of stuff on there, but I would like it to look a little bit less busy for recordings. And I want to get I got a stack of my books that I'm reading. These are some of the books I'm reading, or planning on reading soon. Over here, these are more quote unquote self-help, self-development, leadership development, personal growth type stuff. And then on the other side, I'm gonna have my tech books. I have a stack of those, the main ones. So that's what I'm working on in my personal time as well off stream. So when I get off stream today, I'm gonna work on my office some more today. The last thing I need to do is on this side underneath where y'all where the camera is, I got a bunch of boxes and stuff that needs to be condensed down, or all my Christmas decorations is like in a pile over here too. And somehow my guitar has migrated into this pile, so that's a bad idea. So I'm gonna work on cleaning that up. It really won't take that long. I just need to suck it up and do it. So that's the goal. I'm gonna get my life together. I'm about to start making like a video every day, because honestly, I've been making it more complicated than it needs to be, and I think I can make a video every day. If I could do a whole live stream every day, I could do a 10-minute or less video every day. All I gotta do is be very particular about what it is I'm going to do. All I need to do is be particular about what it is I'm going to do in the video, give myself an outline of what I want to talk about, and shoot for a video that's gonna be like is gonna be less than 10 minutes. So it shouldn't take me a whole long time to work on something like that, just knowing how much experience I do have now. So the main thing I've been working on is getting my making sure I got it easy. It'll be easy to set up. I'm just gonna be using my one of my extra iPhones that we don't use anymore. I'm using that as a camera. I can shoot in 4K on there, so that's good. And then like I said, my backdrop is gonna be the computer and the desk. And so I got that. And then the last thing I want to do as far as the setup is I need to get another camera back set up here, like the center on my computer. Um, More so for when I'm sharing my screen and stuff like that. But for now, this is actually not bad, kind of off to the angle because I am the way that I film stuff is like I'm facing into the camera. So I can use this for now, but eventually I do need to put my regular my regular camera back. Okay, we did all of those. I think we're gonna start here. We're gonna start here. Oh boy. All right, it's a good time to stretch. Take a quick break. Twitch. Trying to see. Oh, I got my dash. No, I don't. All right. So yeah, I'm going to do Twitch a favor and run an ad. I'm gonna go check on the baby, and we about to get some stuff going. Let's try something because I need to get it back to where when I take a break, I can basically sources, audio output, and source. Device. Oh dang. But if I do this. Okay, I'm gonna test something. Let me see.
Yeah. Plus, you have a newborn, so
Oh,
that makes
beautiful.
well.
Beautiful. All right, y'all. So I'm gonna leave this on for our intermission while I go get the baby together. Monitor and output. Beautiful. All right, I want to share this episode with y'all because this is kind of what I was talking about when I was thinking about starting my own small tech startup for streamer tools. So I'm gonna leave this for y'all. Food for thought. Food for thought. Um, y'all can follow the podcast too. there's the link to that episode. Okay, I think we're good to go for episode 4 of Hacking with the Homies podcast. So
Yo,
welcome
yo.
back, everybody. We're officially into our month.
I love it, man. I love it. I love doing these episodes with you, Jessica. We get to like talk about all kind of good stuff.
Yeah, we hardly get, I don't know, it's like ever since obviously the world kind of changed with a lot more social distancing. It's like that it was like a few years ago, it's like okay, we had more opportunities to kind of be in the same space, just maybe be working on other stuff but still have like random conversations. So, I don't know, it's interesting cuz I found that being like a working from home type of situation and not being on a full-time like dev team, I don't get to talk about technical stuff a lot. Sometimes I'm just sitting here by myself. So I really appreciate it as well.
Yeah. Plus, you got you have a newborn, so that makes well. I guess he's a year old now, so I
He's
guess he's
crossing toddler territory.
toddler territory. Yes. But for those who don't know us, my name is Mac Hendricks, and obviously I'm here with Jessica, and we've been rocking together for quite a while here, right? Just doing different
Yeah.
projects, doing different companies, just like I don't know, just kind of going through the world of tech together, especially in Detroit, has evolved all over all these years. So,
I
but
wear my Detroit versus everybody today.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Today though, I'm super excited because we're actually going to be talking about like something that's kind of like really close to my heart, which is really technical founders, which I personally think we don't give them enough support. And quite honestly, I don't know enough of them, to be honest. Most of the people I talk to are non-technical founders. So, if you're a technical founder, hit us up. Like send us a message, follow us, tell us what you're doing, because we want to highlight you and bring you on this program. But anyway,
Yeah.
Jessica, I
Um
kind of just bombed. I just kind of jumped into things. So sorry.
no, it's good. In the same respect, I guess I could say. So yeah, I'm Jessica Vaughn and I am obviously other half of this duo, but um yeah, you're right when you say like, okay, we've been working on all these different projects and like some of that does, I guess, start into startup territory, even though it's not necessarily like maybe traditional tech startup, but like just like that entrepreneurship space. And there's a lot more to it than just, those traditional tech startups that we see, although that might be more what we're thinking about today. But I mean, we have started the nonprofit, we started, a conference and a lot of other like educational programs and things like that. So I think there's more to be said about just like there's a lot more opportunity out there to be a founder in a lot of different ways. And some of those things might vary a little bit, but a lot of it is like the same type of mindset, the same type of environment and stuff like that. So for me, I know most of my professional, if not honestly all my professional experience as a developer has been through startups. So whether that be as an engineer for a startup, I've been also like freelanced and worked with startups to kind of like be the person helping them build out a platform. And then I've worked with educational startups as well as like technical startups. So this is like the world I love to live in, I guess. And I know you probably have some similar background as well as far as different types of companies.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, most of the stuff I've done personally has been around trying to I call machines, build little machines that generate money, and a lot of these little machines have been based on open source projects, and where I kind of built something very technical, and I sold it, and or I sell it. I still do this by the way. So um, that's where I'm kind of focused on is like how do we get more of these people that are technical founders building software that they can set unique situation when you have a technical person be a founder of a company. And I want to talk about like a particular segment of technical founders that I want to kind of focus on. But that doesn't necessarily exclude all the other types of technical founders. But I'm more focused on open source slash software based technical solutions. I mean, there's all kind of technical like things you can build and hardware based things, but I'm not talking about all of those because I'm not a I'm not a mechanical or electrical engineer. I'm a software guy, so I'm going to talk from that lens.
Okay, I think that's a good, like, segue into what do we think is like more of the definition of the technical founder? Because, like you said, there's different arenas that you might get into, but like, what are some of like the fundamental, I guess, aspects of what it means to be a technical founder? Okay, funny fact, funny story. That boy asleep. Okay. I thought the baby was up. I did hear him, but when I went back there, he knocked out. So we are going to jump. I'm gonna jump into my working, but I'm glad I got this kind of going because this is letting me share my desktop audio, at least for right now. Oh, excuse me. Oh my God, I'm over here coughing, choking to death. But yeah, if you find that to be helpful, hiking with the homies, we do these podcasts live. I always broadcast to Twitch, and then I always broadcast to the channel, the YouTube channel it belongs to. So you can go check out the episodes at Hacking with the Homies on YouTube. But in the meantime, and in between time, do I want to keep this open? Let's get to it. Okay, so I got everything I wanted into there. Oh, so one more thing I want to look at. Excuse me. I would also like to comment. Yeah, I think I know what I would want to use, but I am curious on what ChatGPT recommends. Okay, you giving me multiple options. Mocha and Jest. Is that what I was expecting? What was my bad, y'all? Cause I kind of scarfed down them noodles. What was left of them? It was a lot of pepper, and I'm still choking. What the heck? Let me see something. If I do this angle, but then turn. It's still basically the same thing, ain't it? Now y'all just farther away. But yeah, I'm over here choking on my freaking noodles. Oh, I'm muted. Wait, why am I muted? Monitor off. Okay, can y'all hear me now? There's no sound. Hold on. Okay, I'm trying to test it and see. Yeah, I think I have sound. Is it just Twitch? Put them in the game. Thank you for following. Welcome in, man. Welcome in. Welcome in. My channel. Okay. I don't know what that is. Yeah, that's crazy. Twitch be hating, bro. Yeah, Twitch is hating because like YouTube is working just fine. That's that's nutty. That's what I'm saying. This happened to me before. I don't know where that's coming from. All right. I guess what I can do, I can try to restart the stream. I'll restart the stream